Hi everyone, my name is Miranda, and today we're talking all about fun and easy activities that you can do at home with your toddler. I really hope that this will give you some new ideas or maybe bring back old activities that you just haven't done in a while so that we can reduce some screen time and help our kids just learn and master new skills. So I am a mom of three. I have a 7-year-old, an almost 3-year-old, and an almost 1-year-old, which is crazy to say. But I have done these activities over the years and modified and adjusted as they've grown and learned new skills. But today we're going to be talking about the ages of 1 to 3. These activities definitely cover a large range of children with just a couple modifications. So let's jump in. Before we jump into the activities, there's one tip that I'd like to share that will hopefully reduce the stress you have when you are doing activities with your toddlers and also just make it overall more enjoyable. And that is model what the activity should look like. So for me, there's 3 parts to this. Part 1 is simply show them how to do it, right? You're going to model what the activity should look like and how to do it. Very simple. Number 2 is set firm boundaries. Now, sometimes this does not need to be done before the activity starts. For example, let's say you're playing with cars with your toddler, and during the activity, maybe they throw one at another sibling. So at that point, you need to set a boundary. These cars are for driving. If you throw it at your sister again, then we'll take the cars away and we'll have to do another activity, right? So you're setting a boundary during the activity because something happened that needs redirection. So another way this could happen is some activities you need to set a boundary before it even begins. For example, let's say we are going to cut with scissors. So before you start this activity, we know scissors can cause damage, right? So we're going to set a firm boundary that, hey, here's your scissors and here's your paper. Our scissors cut paper. And if we cut anything else, I'll have to take the scissors away to keep us safe. So you're setting that boundary before we even start, because if it happens, we have to stop the activity because there could be bad effects, right? Someone could get hurt. The activity could literally ruin something. So that boundary is being set before. And with this setting, these boundaries, make sure you follow through. It will set you up for success, even if it's hard in the moment, even if there's a tantrum during the boundary being set or being followed through on. It will let your toddler know that, hey, next time I do need to follow this boundary that was set, or I will have the project, the activity, the toy, whatever it is, taken away or removed or modified in some way. And then the third thing, and this is mostly for the parent or caregiver or babysitter, whatever you are, taking care of this child, is hold your expectations loosely. We all go into these activities modeling a certain expectation that we have for our child, but I encourage you to hold them loosely. Again, sometimes boundaries have to be set, like I said previously, and people could get hurt or things actually ruined. But sometimes, let's say, you're playing with paper and pen and then they decide they want to rip it and make a shape out of it or an airplane. I encourage you to go with their creativity. Let your child lead as long as it's safe, and hold your expectations of the activity loosely, because sometimes we just want to let our kids' imagination flow. And as long as it's done safely, I say let them do it. Activity number 1 is probably one of my kids' absolute favorite things to do for multiple ages, and that is sensory bins. So essentially what I do is I take a bin, and I've gotten these from the dollar store. They're literally kitty litter bins, but I have 2 of them. One of them I fill up with the sensory activity. So one of our most popular versions of this is some uncooked rice. I have a bag that I have used for multiple years now. I just keep reusing it over and over again. I'll pour that rice in, and then you can literally add whatever you want. Cups, spatulas, scoops are great options. Little tongs. The dollar store has a section of kitchen utensils that are very small that are perfect to just throw in this bin for super cheap. And then I like to add other fun things. Like you'll see in this video of my daughter, there is a little chest that we had from another toy that we did, and I put these gems inside the bin, and she collected them and put them in her treasure chest and was so excited, Mom, I collected my treasure. and did all sorts of things. Now, when I'm doing this, I like to have another bin because kids like to move things from bin to bin, and it helps lead to like less mess when I'm doing this. So I'll have another bin that's either empty or has maybe some more tools. You can put so many things. Let your imagination go. Find toys or cars, little plastic animals around your house, wooden animals, whatever you have. I have some wooden scoops. We sometimes theme these, like if it's Christmas time, I'll throw in maybe some Christmas themed items. Maybe we'll have dinosaurs in it one day to make like a dinosaur dig. There are so many options. Another good idea for bases is you can have the rice like I have in this. Some people dye and make colored rice. You can also do oats, you can do sand, you can do different pasta. There are so many things that you can do that you have at home, and no matter how you do it, it is so fun. I have even done this when she was much, much younger and put some oats in there. If she's gonna eat it, it's okay. She's gonna be just fine. But of course, use your discretion with your child. You know what they're gonna eat or not eat, and when they, overcome wanting to put everything into their mouth, you can put different things in this bin, like these small gems. I know she's not going to eat them. If I wasn't sure, I wouldn't be putting them in here, but you can always put bigger items that are going to be safe for younger kids, but they are so fun. Now, when I am modeling this, one thing that I do that is a firm rule with my sensory bins is they know from the beginning, and they know this now because I've told them every single time we've done a sensory bin, and I do a reminder, there is no water in sensory bins. As soon as there is water, the sensory bin is removed from them and they do not get to play. Now, this has only happened a single time when both of my kids were much younger, and now my almost 3-year-old, she knows like there's no water, but I do remind her every single time because they're kids. They get excited and distracted, and so I remind her every time, remember, no water in the sensory bin. If we put water in the sensory bin, mommy will have to take it away because it will be ruined. So that is a firm rule. Another thing that I use during sensory bin time, and something that I use for multiple activities, is this mat. The back of it has these grips on it so that it doesn't slide along the floor. It's also waterproof, and so literally I have had water poured on this mat and it holds it. Of course, the edges won't hold it, so I do need to dry it up if there gets too much water, but it can sit on there for a very long time, and I've done this on hardwood floors and they do not get wet in any way, which is great. And then I also like how easy it is to just pull it together. I can go dump off the contents if they can just go in my grass or whatever, but also I can shake it off outside and go wash it, and it is so easy. This has lasted me way over a year. I mean, honestly, probably going on 3 years now, and it is a great, cheap option for a waterproof area to kind of contain mess and also give the kids a boundary. So I say, hey, try to keep it on the mat, so that the sensory bin or whatever activity, if it's water play, whatever it is, isn't just going everywhere, but it allows me to do this on my hardwood floors without thinking they're going to be ruined or anything like that. So this is a great thing to have for multiple activities and something I would highly recommend getting so that you can encourage messy play with your kids. Now, one other tip with this idea of sensory bins that I've seen, I have not used this, but I was like, oh my gosh, this is genius, is if you need to contain a child, specifically maybe someone younger, or honestly, my 2-year-old would probably love it because it'd just be fun, is use a large Sterilite like bin, and that they can sit in and put the sensory stuff in the bin for them to play in. Honestly, would give them a whole different sensory experience because they're actually sitting in the items so that they can play that way, and also would be way less mess. My next activity is kinetic sand. Now, we love kinetic sand. One of my favorite things is this tub that you can get. There are so many different sets that have all sorts of characters. Like there's construction and beach and pirates and so many different sets and so many colors of kinetic sand that you can get. But I really love this tub because this is just our kinetic sand bin. And I think we're going to ask for another one for Christmas now that we have 2 kids who love playing. And this does open, so you can even play with the kinetic sand on this side. So it's pretty big. We recently had to dump out a bunch of kinetic sand because it got left outside in the pouring rain. My fault or the kids? I'm not sure. Probably mine. But as you can see, kinetic sand is just super fun. Like you can shape it and do all sorts of stuff with it. We have some dinosaurs in here because there was a dinosaur kit of kinetic sand that we got. As you can see, there's multiple colors, but The possibilities are honestly endless with kinetic sand, and we absolutely love it. Again, you can put all sorts of things, animals, scoops, cups. You can form things. You can make shapes. You can do all sorts of fun stuff. Now, this is super similar to Play-Doh. And my sister and I actually have a large disagreement on whether Play-Doh or kinetic sand is better. I am team kinetic sand, but we determined that we think that's because we have different floors in our house. So the majority of my house, or where my children would be playing with this, is carpet. And so for me, if this gets everywhere all over the carpet, I can easily vacuum it up. And so to me, this is a messy activity, but it is easy to clean up, which I appreciate. Now, she disagrees because she has hardwood floors in almost her entire house. And so when her kids play with kinetic sand, the sand goes everywhere. And so she actually appreciates Play-Doh much more because she can easily clean that up off of her hardwood floors. Whereas to me, I'm like, Play-Doh gets stuck in my carpet and it makes me so angry. And so it makes me not want to play with Play-Doh. Now, for the first time, literally, I don't know if my daughter has played with Play-Doh except for like a couple weeks ago. We were gifted Play-Doh and I finally took it out and we had a fantastic time, but it was in my carpet. And so that mat I talked about previously, I could absolutely put down, but I just didn't. And so that would save you from the mess. But I mean, still, wouldn't it stick to the mat? I am just not team Play-Doh. But Play-Doh is also another great thing to do. Take it out, you can use different shapes to like stamp in your Play-Doh, make shapes or letters. So that's a great learning activity. They are both awesome, and they're both really good for quiet time too. If you maybe have older kids that you don't want to have this while the babies are out because they'll try to get into it, but you could be doing this while they nap. That is when we played with Play-Doh for literally the first time in ever was when the baby was napping and me and my toddler were making flowers and she was making little babies and mommies, and it was so cute. So both Play-Doh or kinetic sand, take your pick, or do both, but they are great toddler activities. So the next 3 activities I'm going to talk about are more arts and crafts activities. And these are these Do-A-Dot art pens. So we love these. They are, I would say, a mix between like a paint pen and a marker, but the top of them is this dot shape. And so you can literally make dots on your paper. When you put your pen down, the ink comes to the bottom. So you can do dots, but you also, can draw with them. So super fun. And I like to do these 3 different ways. So there's so many colors. Again, you can dot them and do all sorts of toddler learning activities with these. But 3 ways we like to use them. So number 1 is if it's nice, we go outside. So I'll just give them a piece of paper. They can go outside and do their dot art. If it gets everywhere, I don't really care because we have nothing special like on our deck, so they can just go at it. So that's a great option. The second way we like to do this, and probably my kid's favorite, is I have a roll of paper. You can literally take construction paper or anything, but we have a roll of it, which is very nice for this because we're going to put it on the wall. So you just need a roll of paper and some paint tape, and I roll it out. I tape it up with the painter's tape so it doesn't ruin my walls, and I let the kids just go. They have so much fun. There's so many different colors. I do sometimes when I'm doing that, a tip if you're going to paint on your walls is, of course, have it in a safe spot, but it does wash off. But I keep this just a piece of paper on the ground because the paint pens work better, obviously, when they're down. So I'll tell the kids, if it's not working, just give it a little tap on your paper on the ground. So I'll put this on the ground. They can tap their pen and then write on the paper that is on the walls. One fun activity I like to do with that as well is I'll maybe write out my child's name and then they can dot inside it if I do bubble letters to help them with spelling or make different shapes. So it turns into even more of a learning activity, but that's great. Or also just at your kitchen table or wherever, if you want to be extra cautious, you can take a cheap dollar store tablecloth that's plastic, put that down, and then again, put butcher paper or some sort of craft paper over the top of it. Then your table will be protected for very cheap and easy. And then they can, again, go to town, coloring, drawing, whatever they're doing with their Do-A-Dot markers. So these are awesome. The next two activities, I'm not sure why, but they took me a while to finally do with my daughter. I don't think it was like that with my son, and I think maybe because he first did these at daycare, and so then I was like, oh yeah, you do this at daycare, I'll do it with you here too. But I don't know if I was nervous of the mess or what, but she absolutely loves them. So the first is just gluing things. So I will take a sheet of any paper that you have, doesn't matter as long as you don't care what it looks like at the end, and I will take out usually the white school glue, but she also does use, your glue stick as well. But this is the easiest. It can be messy, but it's really not that bad. And she will put glue on the paper and then stick whatever to it. So we've done puffballs, we've done little gems, anything you can stick to paper. Now, going back to the tip about modeling, the first time I did this and a couple times after, I modeled to her what this activity looked like. So I took my piece of paper and I said, this is what we're going to do. I opened her glue for her and I said, so we go like this. We put a dot of glue and then we set our glue down and then we take our puffball and we put it on the glue. And then we do it again. Then we take our glue, we put a dot, we set our glue down, and then we put a puffball on it. So I just modeled to her that we do our glue, then we set it down properly so it's not spilling. And then we put our item on the glue, and then it will dry. So it wasn't a hot mess of glue everywhere and disaster. She did exactly what I modeled for a while, and then she got a little more creative, but that was great. But I modeled to her what I wanted this activity to look like, and so most of the time, that is now what it looks like. So glue has been awesome. Literally, all you need is paper and something to stick to it. Go to the dollar store, go wild, but it is a lot of fun. And then the next thing, which oftentimes it turns into doing this next, is cutting with scissors. Now, of course, you're like, oh man, I'm not taking out the scissors. Are you crazy? But I want to encourage you, take a little risk in a very safe spot with a piece of paper and your scissors. You can help them. You can show them how to hold them. And of course, don't use your giant kitchen scissors. Get a pair of scissors that's easy for them to hold, a toddler style scissor, and show them how to hold them. Show them how we safely hold a piece of paper and how we safely cut it. And model to them how this should look and give that boundary. If you cut anything else, I'll have to take it away because it's not safe. So then they will only be cutting the paper. My daughter will ask for scissors and sit at her little table and cut for so long now. She thinks it's so much fun. She thinks she's doing this adult activity. And while it kind of is an adult activity or an adult activity for older children, it's teaching her a super, super good skill that she does need to learn. And now she's just getting closer and closer to mastering it and doing it safely. So much fun. If we're doing other activities, what I like to do now is I keep scraps, literally, because honestly, cutting smaller pieces of paper is easier for her. So if I have strips of random paper, I keep them now just in a little bin and I give her the scrap bin and she can cut anything she wants in there. So one way to repurpose and not have to use, brand new sheets of paper that they could make a pretty picture on or something, but is super fun and she loves to do it. These next activities are all great activities for a quiet time or independent learning time. So the first one is magnets. All of my children have loved using magnets. So I will often take these out when I'm in the kitchen, maybe cooking dinner or doing something in there, and she will put them on the fridge. Another option is if you are moving throughout your house, you can take a cookie sheet or what are they called? Muffin tins. And they can also stick them to that. So that's another option. And we have various magnets. We have, little animals, we have letters, we have numbers, and you can see here, some of them are like this, kind of like more with a paper backing. Sorry, that is not focusing very well. But then I also have plastic ones. Now, we recently were gifted these, and I will say my daughter has just gotten into like the tearing phase. She's never done this before, but now she is ripping all the paper off crayons and she's ruining our magnets because she'll take them and rip the front off. So I love these, except for now that she's started doing that, I am now preferring to have these plastic ones because she can't ruin them. So these are great, but I mean, they help with color and letter recognition. A lot of the animals will say like, oh, where's the duck? And she'll find the duck. She'll say what the duck says. Okay, duck is, what does duck start with? D, D for duck. There's so many different things you can do with the magnets, and they are a great quiet time activity. So the next activity is one of our newest things that we have started with her, and she loves it, is this set right here. of counting bears and cups. It is so much fun. She's obsessed. So there are 5 different colors of cups, bears, and little, what are these called? Cubes? I guess you can make, stacks of 10. But her favorite part of this is the bears. So she will dig through here. She'll find her bears, and they're in all the same colors as the cups. And she will match them to like their colored cup all in a row. There are also these little tongs, so really helps with like the hand-eye coordination and all of that, for her to learn how to, pick up the bear, put it in the right color cup. We are now kind of working on patterns because she does know her colors. So she knows the colors, and so I'll be, maybe I'll go green, purple, and have her finish the pattern now. So there are so many things, but she will ask for her bear bag, and she'll take out her bag, and she will just sit and play with this for a very, very long time. So this is something that I would highly recommend. A lot of these things are free or with items that you already have in your home, but honestly, she is obsessed with this, and this is so good as they get older for learning so many different things. She can count them. I'll say, okay, how many bears are right here? Okay, can you do 5 bears in each cup? And she'll count out 5 bears and put them in each colored cup. And so this has been a great activity for her to do. And then of course we have puzzles. So various different puzzles. We really like these ones we got more recently. They are letters and numbers. They are wooden. She has really liked these. So I like too that you can actually see what the number is when you remove the puzzle piece, because we had another set that you couldn't tell what it was when you took the piece off. Like it was just this blob. It was a big blob, but it was supposed to be like letter D. But then the O and the D and the G all looked the same because it was just a big open space. Whereas these wooden puzzles right here actually are like the shape of the letter. Like you can see the line of the G compared to the D. But the other puzzle we had, they looked like the same letter because it was just a blob. So these ones are very cool. Obviously, learning your letters, your shapes, your colors. So puzzles are great. I know it's something that's like, well, duh, puzzles. But honestly, for a while, like we didn't use puzzles. And I'm like, why aren't I using puzzles? Like, oh, they don't have very much fun doing it. But honestly, if you take out puzzles that are correct for their level of learning, they're going to love them. Like my daughter loves these. She also is starting to love doing, bigger puzzles that actually create a rectangular puzzle. And so that is a great one. We have like an Old MacDonald Had a Farm one, and her cousins were going crazy over it on vacation, and she loves doing it. She's almost able to do it herself now if I help her with the edges a little bit. So that is a great option. Okay, and my last 2 activities are all about doing what you do. Your kids want to be just like you. And I know it can be really hard sometimes to encourage that independence when you're on a schedule, you're in a hurry, you want things done right, but I encourage you, let your kids help. One way to make this easier is plan for their independence. So if you want to do an activity and you want your child to be involved, plan extra time so that you're not rushed, you're not stressed, and don't do it during something that actually needs to be done super well. For example, if you're making a beautiful cake for a baby shower, don't have your toddler help you cut the strawberries if you need them actually to look like beautifully cut strawberries, right? But if you're making something that just doesn't matter, like you need bananas chopped up for your banana bread, have the child help you. So one of the ways my daughter loves helping, and my son, I say my daughter because she's home with me so much while my son is at school, and so she is usually the one that is participating in these things. But while I'm in the kitchen, I'm always chopping something, and so she wants to help. And so these knives actually are sharp enough to cut. Like, I mean, if I do this, like I would hurt myself if I pushed hard enough, but they're also not going to hurt them. Like they'd have to try to hurt themselves with these, but they actually work to cut. So this set of knives is on Amazon. I'll link anything I can down below from this video, but these have been great. And so if I'm, cutting cucumbers to meal prep or for our salad for dinner, whatever, I'll ask her to come help me, because oftentimes, am I right that when we're trying to get something done, our toddler wants us. And so instead I'll be like, I can't play right now, but would you like to help me cut cucumbers? Yeah, mom. And she'll hop on her toddler tower, which, my goodness, is probably my most used toddler item ever. And I'll insert a picture or video of our toddler tower because she's up on top of it. eating or helping me in the kitchen, whatever she may be doing all the time. So it's a lifesaver, but I'll give her a little cutting board and whatever I'm chopping up, let her pick what knife she wants, and she'll go to town chopping. Now, like I said, encourage their help, because I promise you, it will make all the difference. They'll be so excited that they get to be, I get to be big like a grown up and cut and be involved and not be told like, oh, you're too little, you're not good enough. Allow the time and the space for them to help you. Another way we like to do this is with dishes. So one of my daughter's favorite presents she ever received is her toddler sink. So it's not even a toddler sink, it's just a play sink, but she loves it. So this literally, you fill it with water and then the faucet turns on, and so the water just keeps circulating. So it goes down the drain and circulates back up through the faucet. And this has been so much fun. So if you want to buy something for this activity, this little sink is great. We had one before, it was terrible. This one though has worked so well. We've had it, has it been 1 or 2 years, but it's still working fantastic and she uses it all the time. She'll even do this outside sometime because again, you are doing water. So put down that mat I told you about if you want to do this inside, or it's also a great outdoor activity. The boundary we do set with this is absolutely nothing can go in the sink except for water and the toys, but no dirt, no mud, nothing like that, or it gets removed because it will break the sink. So this is so much fun. I've set this up in the kitchen next to me while I'm doing the dishes, or she plays with it on the ground, or like I said, outside. And she loves doing this little chore on her own as a fun little activity and being just like mom. So this is great. Another way to do that for absolutely $0 is literally fill your sink with some water and have them play in your dishes. Give them a scrubber, maybe some soap if you want to, or not, they don't care. A cup and a spatula and a scrubber, and let them go to town. Let them clean your dishes. Now, no guarantee they'll actually be clean when they're done, but maybe they will be, but if not, it doesn't matter. The point was that they got to participate, do something that they see you doing, and you're teaching them life skills and how to help the home and be productive and be just like you, which is exactly what they want to be. So that was 10 activities that you can do at home with your toddlers. If you have some toddler activity ideas, please leave them down below. And I hope these activities today gave you some ideas of things that you can maybe start doing with your toddler, or maybe brought back some ideas that you used to do that maybe you should reintroduce again and try them. You never know. Sometimes toddlers just need a little break from an activity, and then when you reintroduce it, it's like a whole new part of their brain has opened up, and they take on the activity with so much excitement and new ways to explore, and it is super fun to watch. So I hope that you enjoyed it, and if you did, I would love it if you could like this video and subscribe. I love making videos on motherhood, homemaking, and just all the ways to make the most of this beautiful life that we have been given. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.